Ping William, Ato in Juba, Malatori, hey, yo, Ping William, Ato in Benti, Walla Quaju, hey, wow, Ping William, Ato in Malkal, Walla Pinyaram, Ping William.
Hello guys, welcome to Lensday Media, guy. Happy Sunday. I'm here with Edmund Yakani. So welcome all. Please start sharing a show. For those of you in Clubhouse, please start pinning people in. And for those of you in Facebook, YouTube, start sharing. Edmund, welcome to Lensday Media again. How are you? How's the new year treated you?
Thank you very much. The new year is starting fine, not bad, of course, but it starts with a lot of communal incidents. You count until the month of January now, in our database, we have registered more than 10 communal incidents that claims over 35 lives of innocent civilians. So that's how to begin the worst part of it. But anyway, for the rest is okay. We are interacting, we are arguing, we are debating. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree, we name, we shame. But life is going on. The nation is big. We need to all contribute to the build-up of the nation. So we can't say we can find a solution in one day or in one dialogue. We have to continue the dialogue. We have to continue the argument. And we keep on pushing our government to ensure that they really provide security if they wish. And we push them also in terms of political attitude change towards this demonstration of political maturity and discipline for successful transition from the situation we're in now to peace and stability, and to a situation where we feel we're citizens.
Yeah, it's really, I hope 2024 will be a year of no more violence, but we see that a lot of things are not changing. Hopefully, the people of South Sudan will look into so that they can have a peace and harmony in the country. Let us begin our topic, our discussion regarding about the president degree a couple of days ago regarding the issues of Abyei and Twic Mayaradit, and also the degree, the presidential order on the resolution of conflict between Twic, Ngok, Dinka, and Mayaradit-Abyei and Apuk community. Let me read out those degrees. So about president line out from number 1 to 10. So number 1 is saying that the year understanding is a summary of the resolution. Number 1, both community must immediately case hostile the governor of Warab and Western Barkazal state and the Abyei special administrative area chief administrators are directed to continue engaging politicals, military leaders, traditional leaders, and other stakeholders in their respective areas, aim to achieve the lasting peace between the two sisterly communities by initial dialogue to reconcile the two communities. Resolution number 2 is saying that the relevant security institution must deploy neutral security forces the conflict affected area with the clear operationally order, restore the law and order. Resolution number 3 is that the security forces must ensure that Matergai Mashek. Okay, this is one of the things, Mr. Edmund, we need to dwell on this number 3, because I see a lot of people were talking a lot about this. Okay, that Mr. Guy Mashek, the Nuer spiritual leader, is expelled from Ajakwach area of Warab state. Peacefully return either to Unity state or move to another state of his choice within Barkazar region, other than Warab state and Abyei special administrative area. Resolution number 4, let me circle number 3, we need to talk about that. Resolution number 4, it said that the security forces must also ensure that the Nuer youth in Twic and Ngok area are moved to Nuer land or away from the conflict area to state such as Northern Paracazal or Lakes State. We will talk a lot about resolution number 4 too. Resolution number 5. Okay. The relevant security forces, law enforcement agencies, and legal institutions must ensure that any political or person or group or politician or a person who incited or incurred violence on both either side of the representative community must be summoned and questioned, perhaps preempted by the relevant authorities where appropriate arrangement and them into the court of law, justice, and transparency or equality. So resolution number 6, land and borders. That this is another number 6 is another big issues too facing these two communities. The land borders and boundaries in conflict affect area of Twic, Ngok, Dinka, Apuk, and Marialbai, including the question of Abyei box, must be put on hold. So the leadership shall advise the peaceful means of resolve it accordingly. This order shall equally apply to other land borders, boundary related conflict in other part of country. The government resolution number 7, the governor of Warab State and Western Barkazal states and the Shiba demonstration of Abyei special administrative area, together with the governors from the neighboring states, are directed to engage the youth in their respective states and case violent and emerge the peaceful coexist, including the engaging them in agriculture, peace, developmental projects, as well as incoming generating activities. Resolution number 8. All the relevant security organs must continue to carry out arms such as peaceful disarmament of the civil population in Warab State, Western Barkazal states, as well as other part of the country. Resolution number 9, all the relevant institutions shall engage UNISF to stick to its illegal mandate. And then finally, resolution number 10. The bridge in Wow. The bridge in Wow remain Kalaman Mabroko Bridge. The national government shall dispatch a team to Wow to sanitize the citizen about the same, and an investigation committee shall be informed to investigate the violent incident in Wow for further action. And then finally, the resolution number 11, SSPDF and police and national security are hereby directed to ensure that those orders are enforced and implemented accordingly. So, Edmund, that is that. So those are the resolution, conflict resolution by the degree from the President of the Republic of South Sudan, President Salva Kiir. So seeing the resolution, Edmund, since that day, what happened? This resolution will be honored and respected, and can be achieved. This resolution can bring peace between Ngok, Dinka, and Twic Mayaradit. So
okay, thank you very much, and thanks for sharing. Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for sharing the content of the presidential order on resolution of conflict between Twic Mayaradit and Abyei, or between Twic Mayaradit Dinka and Ngok Dinka of Abyei. And of course, I've extended beyond. It has brought in also the element of Fertit and Luo, or Luo against other communities within Western Barkazal State, but also between Western Barkazal State and some parts of Warab State. So those three institutions were brought together in this resolution, mainly Warab, Western Barghazal, and Abyei. They were brought in because they have tensions that are emerging. Since the day of the presidential order, what happened? Two violations have took place. Violations have took place, and these violations are as follows. One, there was an attack in one of the Twic Mayaradit village called Aniel. There's an attack by an armed man, and per the ground sources, the suspect seems to be coming from Abyei. That's what the public domain have, but there's an incident which happened there. So that is a first violation. The second violation comes to the triangle of Warab and Western Barghazal state over land dispute. There was also an attack in Marialwao County of Ju River, where three civilians were killed and one soldier was killed from SSPDF. That's a violation that happened, been registered. There's a rejection on some of the provisions of this presidential order by some of the parties who are in conflict. For example, like what? There's a rejection from the Luo youth officially, and they issue a statement rejecting the order directing the bridge in Wau to remain with the name of Clement Boro. The youth rejected that, and they even reached to the level of saying that decision is to favor the Fertit. They totally rejected that. So they feel like the name of the bridge should continue to be changed, not Clement Boro Bridge. That's another challenge that was posted towards the genuine implementation of this presidential order. But also we have seen clearly that the political leadership of the state, of Western Barghazal state, of Warab and Abyei administrative areas, have not taken that directives that was given to them to reach out to the youth to stop using violence or armed violence as a way of mitigating their political grievances. And you might have seen the two incidents that I've mentioned. There's already in Twic, Mayaradit County, one area was attacked by armed men, and in Ju River also an area was attacked. Ju youth have challenged the naming of the Clement Boro Bridge, and they said they don't want to go for it. And of course, as you said, part of it is also this issue of spiritual leaders who become perpetrators of human rights, or people who are engineering commitment of human atrocities. And we have seen the spiritual leader is been asked either he have to go back to unity. Something unique I would like to bring in the spiritual leaders. This is spiritual leaders, the one around Ngok and Twic. Similar spiritual leader is in Ayot. And that of Ayot is even reached to the level of threatening some areas within Jongole state, and specifically in confrontation with the Murle. There's a one in Fangak, which is threatening the lives of the people in Rueng administrative area. An honorable commissioner of Fangak, after less than a year, have sent an alarm to Rueng administrative areas to get prepared because the spiritual leader want to attack them. And that's what the commissioner communicating. So there's a trend where spiritual leaders become perpetrators of violence. And they are mobilizing the ignorant youth to believe on them. But all these actions that resulted to the violation of the recent president's order on Twic Mayaradit and Abyei conflict resolution, all these actions are not out of blue. Some people somewhere are influencing, are creating, are undermining the presidential order. Now, my fear is this. With the two violations, that some areas of Twic Mayaradit after the presidential order were ambushed or were assaults, and also Ju River, Payam of Mayalwao is assault. If there's any revenge attack from those who are victims of the violence, then the high chances of the presidential order will be undermined are very high. And I checked with the governor of Lakes because we are advocating that this particular order directives, which as you have read them out, need establishment of an implementation plan. So that people like us, civil society, then we can hold accountable, we can push, we can check among the conflicting parties who is not serious. And also you can't translate these resolutions by having them in the papers. You need to put finance for dissemination of these resolutions, reaching out to the youth and all this, also to see how much money will be committed by the state government and by the national government on the implementation of this presidential order. So for me, some political elites are really challenging directives of the president. The rejection of the naming, I don't think that is just only a youth agenda. Some political elites have pushed the youth to take it up because they can escape accountability. And unfortunately, when I did my survey of assessing people who might have contributed in fueling a thinking that contribute to the violation of the order, is still, as I've said last time, are close allies of the political leadership or politicians who have been in the system before. Of course, the presidential order was a positive response to our advocacy, which all we appreciated, that at least president have listened to our advocacy and have issued this presidential order. But my humble position and fear is, if this particular presidential order did not have an action plan for the implementation of those action points that you have mentioned, if the presidential order is not taken seriously by the institution directed in the implementation of this, because you can see clearly the presidential order have mentioned institutions, governor, chief administrator, security institutions. They have been mentioned in the order very clear to execute the order. If they lack the will to execute the order, or if they're dragging their feet in executing the order, the chances of this present order doesn't have impact is very high. Why? Because we have live examples of a similar presidential order that have died a natural death. Like what? Presidential order on the return of cattle from the region of Equatoria to other regions have died natural death. Nobody respected because it's been violated in the similar manner that this one now is facing pockets of violence committed against Twic communities, pocket of violence committed against community of Ju River, letters coming out undermining the orders from a particular section of groups, which actually also they have a genuine reason of writing those letters, because I don't know to what level were they engaged in the dialogue. And I know the people who be champions of maybe influence the letters are part of the people who went for the dialogue and engineered the dialogue. And this idea of the president dispatching a delegation to explain the content of the resolution is very important. But here also state governors and chief administrator can take responsibility to communicate to the youth who are in front line of waging up these attacks. So my fear is that there's a high chances that people who are politicians who are discontented with the content of this presidential order will engineer the undermining and making sure the presidential order die natural death. And they have already started. What are the indicators? The attack in some parts of Twic Mayaradit County, the attacks in Ju River, letters of rejections coming out. So that is a clear indicator that certain class of political elites does not want to see the presidential order hold the water. And that's why, as a civil society, we still call upon the president that there's urgency to establish the committee to implement these resolutions. Because if these presidential order resolutions die natural death, we will never have Baragazal as the Baragazal we know. Because this presidential order has almost taken into account everything. Land disputes, that is very common between Twic, Mayaradit Dinka, and Ngok Dinka over Aneth. Other land disputes beyond that. Ju River now is in tension with some communities in Warab because naming of places, and boundaries. So I think for me, the presidential order is very clear, but will there be a mechanism to translate it into an action? And if there's a mechanism to translate it into an action, are there resources to ensure what is called peaceful civilian disarmament taking place? Because these things you can't implement them by wording. You need to put resources, you need to put money. So for me, that is a challenge. And my fear is that also this trend of recent increase in the month of January on communal deadly violence, there's a high chances people are trying to use community violence so muchly so that either elections are declared off or state of emergency is declared. You know, remember, when the country is in a state of emergency, you cannot conduct elections.
Right.
So this is a fear we have, that some of this communal violence may be used to justify certain political actions. And why? Because they're politically motivated to reach to that particular point of political action. So for me, the appeal still goes to president. Take responsibility, held accountable any single member of the conflicted communities between Twic, Mayaradit, and Ngoka Dinka, but also between communities of Warap and Two River. And the army can't go for disarmament if the politicians are contradicting the content of the presidential order. So my fear is this order may die a natural death. Because why I say that, I've realized how sometimes arrogant and how sometimes weak our law enforcement agencies are. I've been closely monitoring the incident in Gondokoro. You remember, where children were taken, chiefs were taken. So now these are all released. But in terms of when they were running for refuge, they have lost their livelihood. It's not taken up seriously. So for me, this is a challenge that the president's office need to quickly respond with a committee, and the committee must be tasked to take lead in such presidential order directives, because we have seen pockets of incidents that are going across the country. And the same thing happened with incidents like in Kajukeji, like the Gondokoro incidents I've mentioned. You remember the Ler incident, where it was investigated by the former late Minister of Water, Lendeton Givenon, where the outcomes. So there's quite a number. In Jongole, there's a series in my database is over 7 actions where committees were established but never hold. So this incident that happened in Twic Mayaradit County and in Du River County, plus the letter, it's at a test for the president's order. Will the president's order hold water or not? If it's allowed to continue like that, this president's order may die natural death like others.
So, yeah, thank you, Edmund. Actually, if this presidential order die natural death, is it because the president issued the decree, but there's no commitment and no action be taken? Because if he put that he order the security personnel, like for instance, South Sudan Defense Forces and national security personnel. So I say that the please make sure that the law and order is in place in these areas between Abyei and Twic area. But is it those security personnel, are they deployed in that area yet? Then number 2, president degree, if he issue a degree like this, why he didn't take an action to deploy the unified forces in this area, in those areas, like in Western Barkazal area where there's a conflict in, like in that place between Twic and Ngok where the conflict's in? Why is he didn't deploy the joint security forces, that the unified forces that they graduated last year? So that way, the security can be in place in those areas. But if he just issued the degree, but there's no action, there's no security in place that's been placed, the violence still continues. These people, they still attack each other because there's no forces around there to stop the violence. So that's where I will see that it will die natural death, because there's no forces are there to stop the conflict between these two communities. So what do you think? Do you think the president should, if he issued the order like this, president degree like this, why the next day, if he issued today, tomorrow morning, we will see the convoys of forces heading to those places so that they can stop right away. But if you just put it on the paper like this is a degree, and that's it. How can you stop? How can you stop the conflict? The violence? The violence is still going to go. So go ahead and respond to those.
First, one of the weaknesses that in my lifetime, working around communal conflict resolutions since 2012 until today, and with specific focus on intervention from the office of the president, I come to realize even people who made those decisions or who work, you remember these resolutions are out of a meeting. The meeting was calling the elders, the elites of Twic, Mayaradit, and Ngok Denka, and add to it from Western Baragazar. That's what the meeting was conducted. Unfortunately, sometimes some of the decision makers that build these decisions in terms of whether we call it resolution or presidential order in a political arena, in the security sector, are actually the perpetrators of the crisis. They're the profiteers of the violence. So you come to realize profiteers of the violence meet with the president, reach resolutions, and even some of them reach a level that even they form their own profiteers committee that undermines the implementation and use such presidential order for economical gains that are normally personal gains, getting money from public treasury in the name of going to disseminate information, pocketed them, go stay in a hotel, or do one event or take advantage of other events, and then they go away. So for me, the office of the president need to have a proper desk. I know he have advisors, but those advisors, to what level are they shaping the agenda for decision making in the office of the president? My assessment is that they're not so strong. Few out of them all are very proactive, rare and proactive. So as you said, is that normally a such order, you do it with an immediate task mechanisms for implementation. Like what you say. You say SSPDF, national security, police, we need to see a situation of where the violence remain calm, they're deployed. Now imagine you direct security institutions to implement the order in 5 days' time. Armed to youth, besides all this, state is not anybody, state security institution, SSPDF, National Security Police, 2 attacks that have claimed lives of innocent civilians were launched against the directives of the order. You said questioning. When President issued this order, were the security institutions really seriously listening or not? Are they aware or not? And if they're aware, why are they not acting in accordance to the directives of the presidential order? Why? Because most of them are people also who fuel the violence. That's why their response to such order become limited. Politically, they're the one engineering these actions of undermining the order. Some of them tomorrow come to their rise, they're also rewarded with the political seats. Besides using violence as a ladder to leadership. So the president's office, in terms of making such orders through meeting, sometimes actually embrace the perpetrators of the violence to come together and pretend as angels and zero such resolutions, and they themselves violate it. That's why the attacks in part of Twic and attacks in Juriv, I don't say it is youth-led or armed unknown gunmen. No, no, no. Even the letter of rejecting the bridge, there are political leaders behind that. So that's for me how the presidential order died naturally. Then natural is when the office of the president. The second thing which I am been really keenly now following on this resolution is to see a follow-up from the office of the president. Because I realize the office of the president, this is my concern, it seems is lacking people who follow decisions that come from that office, which was directed to a specific entities. Why? I will give you an example. The presidential order for the return of the kettles, committees were formed. But when I made the committee say we don't have money because we're supposed to go for an assessment. A president's order, you're telling me no money. So how was this order written? Was it out of blue or there were consultations? So it tells you clearly that people come and meet around the president, reach decisions, such order is executed. But also in best countries where there's a political discipline and maturity, once a president's order is issued like this, you don't wait to be directed. As long as you are tasked by the order, you are told act on 1, 2, 3 by such president's order. You don't wait to go to the president and ask, when can I start? You are supposed to start immediately as the director of the presidency have said. Now the question is, where are the army when there were attack against Twic Mayaradit? Where are the army when there's attack against Ju River? That's why simply some people are profiteers of violence in the country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Edmund. You know, it's really, on Friday, I interviewed here Honorable Peter Mayan, and I asked him some question regarding about these issues of Abyei. He said that he was a part of committee, was appointed to look into the conflict between Abyei and Twic. And he said that what he found out is that people over there, people who were, they just want money, they just looting money. They are not there to solve the conflict, the issue between these two communities. They just want that for the money. When they get the money, that's it, and they don't care about who killed who. And this is the problem here. Okay, president can degree, they can issue the degree whatever he wants, but if there's no right people to put into that place so that they can solve to the conflict will not end, because these people will get the money and then they leave. Here is my opinion and my suggestion to the president. If he can organize the committee should not be organized based on the people of, like, special, make the committee like the community of Ngok or community of Twic. No, take the committee out from this region. Not even none of Dinka, actually. None of the Dinka Bargaza, just make out of non-Dinka. Let this committee be a non-Dinka. Let them go there and solve these issues. That's where they can solve issues. But if you say that you will put the son and daughter of Twic in the committee, you put the son of daughter of Ngok in the committee, believe me, the problem will not be solved. Put the non-Ngok, non-Twic, or non-other Dinka and put them right there to solve the issues. That's how I see they can solve the conflict. And also, number 2, to solve this conflict, do not put the same faces. You already put it before, and they didn't do nothing. Put the fresh faces that they can go there. Put the people that they will go and use and the people that they will not do the corruption. They will not go there for their well benefit. That's what I see. That's how the president should appoint people like that. And second, about the let us talk a little bit about bridge. This bridge of your bridge.
Can I comment on what you said? Can I comment on what you said before you get to the bridge?
Yeah.
Let me give examples.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a facts-finding committee formed by the office of the president on a particular dispute, the members of the facts-finding committee start fighting among themselves. Even before they would go to the facts-finding. On what? Either they disagree at the opinion on how to approach the facts-finding, or they disagree over allowances.
You see,
that's a common practice all over. For all this quite number of 9 years I've been observing, that's a common practice. Every facts-funding committee that it involves members of the conflicting communities whom you assume they're good, they start disagreeing. Even this issue of Abyei, I remember the committee under Abdul Bagi disagree. I remember MPs were sold to MPs when disagree, because they come from the same communities. Everybody have to protect the community, and everybody have an interpretation of the thing. So these are the two factors. The other factor is where now communal violence becoming a means of getting quick money from the Minister of Finance through the influence of the office of the president. So if you fall to be in a committee like that, the first thing you rush is budget. And I'll give an example. I have seen budgets devolve of millions in midnight in a hotel. The following morning, they approve. The committee is dispatched. And you see, committee members will start setting plans of either I want to finish up my fence, I need to buy iron seats to finish up my house, you know, my car is in the garage, I need to go buy some tires, some batteries. Using which money? Money as opposed to rescue the wasted blood of innocent citizens. You see, that's how they operate. So some of them are smiling when they see the president's order, and that president is going to form a committee. Some of them are running for the committee. I spoke to His Excellency Governor Ring over a phone. He said, let's wait for President to come from Kampala and the committee will be formed, then we can go ahead. So somebody like Ring is anonymous. But there are people who just now start calling him, you know, we need to members of the committee because why? That's the shortest way you can get money. So in the name of the loss of lives of innocent citizens, some people are profiting out of it. And that's why I'm calling them the profiteers of the violence and the one undermining these orders. The third aspect I want to bring is that we have made conflict resolution to be more of ethnic-centered process. If, for example, let me give an example. Angelo Beda led a committee as a fact-finding committee from Council of States as a chair to find out exactly what's the problem between the Twic, Mayaradit, and Abyei. And the committee came out with very strong resolutions. But because the profiteers of the violence didn't eat the money Angelo Beda went with, they have not been accommodating the hotel of that money, they have not got per diem from that money, they have not got money for buying batteries, they undermine, they went to the president and they speak different language. It is like these elders, you know, there's this video of elders who went to tell the president wrong information about the national dialogue, and immediately the president undermined the national dialogue. There's those characters of those elders. They're there in every conflict. Even when you come for the president order on the return of the kettles, people have had money. I remember I was involved to really act negotiation when I started hearing the committees that were established based on that order at Central Equatorial State level, at Jonglei State level. People have run away with money. Even I attended one of the meetings, people are boxing themselves over distribution of that money for fueling the car. And I remember some of them fueled the car. The car didn't went to negotiate the return of the kettles. The fuel were used to bring charcoal from the bush to take it to the market. Some, the fuel were to be fueled to the vehicles of their daughters and sons because they're going to the village. So money is given and diverted different attention. It's just like what we have seen now. We're demanding unification of forces and money is given to water tanks. And besides that, in Juba town, there's a pipe, what do you call water pipes construction going on for the last 2 years. You start asking, are we logical? Are we serious? Do we really intend to save people, or do we use the suffering of people as a source of income? So I do agree with you. President need to form a committee that is out of Twic and Ngok. Neutral committee, and form a committee that are serious. Because even the military are waiting also to eat. The military, the security and defense institute, they're waiting to eat because they say, we cannot move because our vehicles have no fuel. We cannot move because the car doesn't have a brake oil. We cannot move because the engine oil of the car got finished. But why all, and where is the operational cost of your institution? I've seen it. And come to realize everybody want to be part of that committee. So for me, forming committees to end up as a profiteers of the violence is meaningless, it is useless, and it's actually fueling more violence to occur. And if you see now, when the president's issue and president order over the issue of the Twic, Mayaradit, and the Abyei, people are saying, can similar approach be used for Jonglei? And of course, I'm one of the persons who demanded that there's a big problem going in Ayot. The spiritual leader is fighting with the army. For Chala, we have been losing lives of business people going on there. In Rumbek, recently, we have seen an attack that is coming up. So also we need to see a holistic approach to this. Why? My fear is that profiteers of the violence are too much close to the responsible institutions that are supposed to make peace and stability prevail among our communities. In the security, among the politicians, around the office of the president, around the state governors, there are a lot of profiteers of violence that surround those decision-making centers. And for me, they need to be dealt with if we want to stop this communal violence. If they're in uniform, dismiss them off. If they're politicians, discipline them. If they're around the offices, chase them away. That's the only way we can manage. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're right. Absolutely. Thank you, Edmund. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's how you can solve the conflict between the two community or three community, whatever the problem is. And that's what I see every time President organize the committee, whatever the issues, if the issues happen in Equatoria or another part of Jonglei, that committee will not do nothing. The conflict is still going to go. So let me focus on asking you regarding about the bridge, because this bridge bring the conflict. It is this bridge is the new bridge or the old bridge? Why is it the bridge become a issues is the said that people killing one another, and that bridge it was there for decade. Why is it now people killing each other? Is it the new bridge now or the old bridge? Is it the name is a new name?
Let me give you my narrative of the bridge, and I wish that one son or daughter of Western Baragazali State could have been with us online and can come and speak later on and see the narrative.
Ambassador Salamandra is in the room in Clubhouse, and I love him to join because I want to join. Over this. Yeah, go ahead.
The naming of this, the naming of this bridge per my survey, because I went to the ground and to see for myself physically how the bridge looked like. Because as an activist, normal, I don't speak on rumors. I have to collect my own primary evidence. So I was in wow. I went to see the bridge and I walk around the bridge and I spoke to communities in this side of the bridge, in that side of the bridge. I spoke to elders who have overstayed along the close to the bridge for long. And I spoke to politicians, I spoke to youth, to religious leaders, to establish my own narrative of what exactly triggered the violence. What is wrong with the naming? So here is the narrative. The bridge is not a new bridge. No, it's not an old bridge. The bridge is in existence before. And this particular bridge was a gift from Chinese president. Chinese president gave a gift of bridge to South Sudan. So the Council of Ministers set and assess all the bridges across the country. Where is a strategic priority? So this particular river in Western Baragazal happened to have a strategic priority. Now, when this gift was given to South Sudan, the Council of Ministers met and they deliberated on how can we name this bridge. Now, they say we should name this bridge in the name of the president. The president said, no, don't name it in my name. Were there not any renowned son and daughter of Western Baragazali State? So the Council of Ministers opt to go for Clement Borough. Why? Because of Clement Borough history. In our history of a struggle for independent state. You know, Clement Borough is somebody who stand up on rights of South Sudanese. Right from Juba Conference, you can see how he demanded South Sudanese need to be independent. And remember, he have a lot of quotes that people like to quote. And remember, there's one quote during the 7th Governors Forum. His Excellency, First Vice President, quoted that is one of his most quote when he was a small child or as a youth, as coming to join the arena of the politics. Dr. Riak was saying he got that quote, and that quote, he never forget it until today. He said he made several quotes in his life, but the one of Clement Borough, he can't forget it. And Clement Borough is somebody who is a historian in terms of somebody who have a historical background of the struggle. But there are local politics of Western Baragazal. The central government named it, the president named it Clement Borough Bridge. But when this name was taken to on the ground, there are local disputes among communities in Western Baragazal. What are the local politics that are there? One, remember the reallocation of Wau County outside Wau Town to Bagari. It have ethnic dimension there. Now some people are ruling that this name comes from one of the parties that is associated with this issue of Wow to go out of Wow Town. So why should the person who belongs to that party, his name is brought to name the bridge? That's one thing. The second thing, I track it down, and here I don't qualify names. There's a tension among Clement Borough as a politician with a politician that come from the Luo. And this is during Nimeri's time. And those tensions have built historical grievances that now naming the bridge in the name of Clement Borough, it again revived those historical grievances that happened during the Nimeri's time. For example, let me give you an example. Let me give just a simple example. I don't use the example on the ground. I would use example somewhere. Remember the tension between Lago Abel Aller over the issue of Addis Ababa agreement, the game of James Tombra, the case of James Tombra for that where the Kokora thing, where the Kokora means federation or Kokora means thinkers should go out of Equatoria. You know, those political histories are the one now influencing the naming of the bridge, because there are two particular players that have those differences. And those differences were now brought into to dispute the naming of the bridge. So people believe like when you name it Clement Borough, you have crossed the border and you have extended a person whom we don't believe on his or her legitimacy to have influence. So like the bridge has brought somebody who is here, brought to connect with us here, and they have extended our disputes. Instead of our dispute ending with them there, they have been brought in here. So in terms of interpretation of legitimacy, they have influence on us. And that's why if you see, it's very clear. The Luo youth have said the naming is to favor Fertit. So it becomes a complete confrontation between these two groups. But it may not end up there. Wow, because Wow is a contested area. Wow. So for me, the issue of Wow remains, Wow County remains in Wow Town, not outside Wow Town, is part and parcel of the debate in the naming of the bridge. But people are not honest. People are covering it up. But who are playing this game? If you get the names of those who are fueling this game, are the people when they are in front of the president are smiling to the president. Your Excellency, we are here, we are your friends, we will stand behind you. But on the community, they are engaging the communities to fight. Now they say this bridge should be named again Du River 2, because there's a Du River bridge. They say name it Du River Bridge 2. Or take the name Clement Borough out. Name it Freedom, name it Peace, name it Dove, name it, but you don't know the name. Why is the name of Clement Borough sensitive? Is because of those historical facts that I don't go to details because I don't want to point or level some people here as a part of. But that's the problem. The problem is that the name of Clement Borough is disputed because there's ethnic tension between the Luo and the Fertit, and these have linked with the issue of reallocation of Wow. And remember, in 2012, it has cost lives. The dispute around Wow. Wow County has been taken away from Wow and then taken to Bagare. And up to date, if you see, the commission of Wow County can't go to Bagare. Because Bagare people are saying, my friend, what's wrong with you? Why are you transferring your county to us here? Actually, we ourselves here, we need our own county. You end up there with the county. If you're promoted as a municipality, remain as a municipality. Because that's Wow municipality. So it is a chief politics. It's really chief politics. It's a cheap politics, it's a naive politics, and it tells you very clear that up to now, this political class that merged from 1972, and I'm going to be here sincere, I know anybody can hold me accountable. This South Sudan political class that merged from 1972, actually, this generation that came out of 1972 or during 1972, a struggle and the agreement was signed until the establishment of a new phase of the SPLM, SPLA, that brought the independence of the country. There are remnant of people in this generation from 1972 until 1983. They don't believe on something called nation. They believe on something called tribe, community, and even some of them are PhD holders, by the way. Because I was looking at some of the names, and I come to some of the names of the people are well-educated people. Some of them are PhD holders, but they still believe on tribalism, on ethnicity. This is one. Another thing that challenged me, they don't believe on nation. Most of this generation, if you see, they have studied in few secondary schools. Some of them either their colleagues in Juba Commercial, or their colleagues in Rumbek Secondary, or their colleagues in Lower Secondary, or their colleagues in Bushari, or their colleagues in, most of them have been studying together. But look at the way how they're running the country. Look at the way how they're scattering us into communities. So because in them, what is called nation does not exist. What exists is my tribe and my community. And these are the category of the people. If you ask them, how do you define peaceful South Sudan? They believe is that my village plus Juba, as long as they're stable, South Sudan is stable. So they don't look at other parts of the country. So when I ask them, how do you define insecurity? They say, as long as my village have no insecurity, Juba have no insecurity, the capital of my state have no insecurity, the country have no insecurity. When I ask them, what about this incident happened in this part of the country? So this is theirs. Let them kill themselves, let them fight there. I don't bother, it's none of my business. But those are your own fellow citizens. That wherever you are, you're supposed to stood up and prevent they from losing their lives or from killing themselves. This people doesn't believe on that. They believe on the communities, the tribes, and most of them are also what we call senior cadres of the struggle. Senior cadres that struggle data diagonal billet. Where is your seniority here? What are you arguing for? So for me, that is the challenge. And until God on its own, I'm not somebody who is violent, I don't claim for violence, until when God takes their lives away, maybe we can have the mindset of those South Sudanese that believe that they're nationalists and they want to build a nation by not remaining silent and by confronting anything in a constructive manner. Because sometimes we take arguments that are not constructive.
Right.
So in a constructive manner. So for me, that is the problem. So this issue of this particular presidential order will face problem with this generation. Some of them are before governors, some of them are ministers, some of them are generals, some of them are real people whom have a historical track record in our struggle for independence, but today their behavior are different. Why? Because they don't believe in the nation. So when we're struggling for the nation of South Sudan, we have some politicians, some commanders who doesn't believe in the nation. They believe, let's struggle for my community to become independent from the rest of the Sudan. Since we all voted now, we believe on that. So for me, it is a highly politicized issue. It's a highly politicized issue. And some people want to use it as a ladder to power. And by the way, also, this generation of 1972 and 1983, they're using violence as a ladder to power. And unfortunately, some people around the president are embracing that. Let me give you an example. Western Paragazal. A minister was dismissed. A speaker was dismissed. Linked with what? With this bridge. I'm quite sure those who have been replaced are not sleeping. They're also cooking their way to remove those who so you will see shift of leadership changes going on. Ministers, parliamentarians like speakers, soon you come to hear other people are out, X is in. Why do you use violence as a measuring yard for political allocation of seats? That's a very bad culture. And the profiteers of violence, that is their culture. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Edmund. And Governor of Western Barkazal, she was here with us. She used to be here with us here in the U.S. before he went to South Sudan and get the position of governorship. And I thought that she will use her experience when she was here in the United States to use her experience to bring a peace among this community. Because, the names, I think the name is a petty thing, people cannot kill one another for the name. Okay, if the name of the issues is Kalaman, name is the issues, why don't you just leave it as a bridge? Don't give it a name, just leave it a bridge. That's it. So let's go back. Let's go back.
And then let me to experience of our diaspora sons and daughters who became with a rich wealth. And that's a practical case study that I would like to share with some of you who are in diaspora and who are audience of this. We have well-informed South Sudanese who comes from diaspora with a rich knowledge because they are exposed to the space of learning and knowledge. They come back here, they assume leadership position. The challenge normally faces them. It's not that they don't have the knowledge. The challenge faces them They can't fit into a system where the Council of Ministers during the meeting will leave what is called the term of reference of Council of Ministers. They go to tribal and county term of references. Where you have 17 ministers, the 17 ministers will divide themselves to argue on tribal line. If we, the tribe so and so, regardless of their political differences, they will zero themselves all into tribal line. You can't manage such attitudes. You can't manage. So even if you bring anybody, you can't manage. Look at some ministers who came from diaspora in the office of the president or around the ministers, how they messed up. You come as a rich person, well-informed, believing on system of the Western world. You sit in a meeting and you come to see your paramount chief is outside there, your bomber chief is outside there, your in-laws are hanging around here, whoever is here, and then by tradition, you start entertaining them, they start shipping. So with all this knowledge, you fall into them. So for me, the question is, we need to have a system of discipline in administering public life. So honorable governor may have the interest, may have the knowledge, but she will be undermined by these players who only believe on my tribe. Imagine you have 3 cabinets. I've seen this common in the states. In the states, there are 3 cabinets in the state. One, there's a cabinet of tribal meeting. Regardless of your political colors, you go meet as a tribe in one of your tribe member. We're going to go for the meeting, Ananas Philandel from our community, we must be careful. My brother, you're in that side, I'm in this side. You are there as a blue and I'm here as a red. Somebody there is about yellow, and then, community is very important. So in the council of ministers, they have already made a preconceived resolution on this agenda. 2, there's a friends in the cabinet. Now they start calling each other. Now you go to the official cabinet. My friend, even if you bring whoever, you can name F. Kennedy or you bring Martin Luther King, can't manage this system.
Yeah,
it's a very tribalistic system. Yes.
Yeah, it's very bad. Yeah. So let's go back to the issues of Twic, Mayaradit-Abyei for a second. There's something bothering me here, Edmund, on the resolution, presidential resolution. I said resolution number 3, 4, 6, and 7. Let's talk about you mentioned regarding about a spiritual leader. Like the security resolution of number 3 is talk about the security forces must ensure that Masari guy, Mashek, there is the new official leader can be expelled. So guy Mashek would be expelled from Twic. So he's staying at Jakwai right now. So he have to leave at Jakwai right away. He can go back to Unity State or any other state that he chooses to go to. My question, why is it the presidential degree, is this a spiritual leader, Guy Mashek, is he having issues regarding the conflict between Twic and Abyei? Is he involved in? That's number 1 question. Number 2, is it Guy Mashek having a process with them in Jakwai? Because I was listening to Clubhouse a few days ago when General Stephen Boy, he was in Clubhouse. One of the Edward was hosting a show and he was there and talk about. And I become to learn that he is related to Mr. Guy Mashek. So, and is it he connected with Stephen Boy? Is it the conflict between Twic and Abyei? It's no longer a conflict between 2 sisters who are having a disagreement between land issues. Now it's beyond on that. Is it? These are the questions that I was just asking myself. Is it because rebellions, the rebel that against the government, are involved into the conflict between Twic and Abyei? Why is it General Stephen Boy talk about the issues going on in Abyei? Why is it Guy Mashek spiritual? Is it that he moved his cattle? That's what I was learning in he moved his cattle and his goat and his people to Ajakwa area. I understand. I learned that he was related to the people, which is is related there. So what is, I'm trying to connect a dot here, Edmund. Why is it President degree to expel him out from Ajakwa? Is it he have something to do with the conflict between Twic and Abyei? And third, okay, so Guy Sheikh is a citizen of South Sudan. He have right to live wherever he chooses to live. Okay. If he chooses to live in a Jakwach area, in peaceful with that community, and that community welcome him to their community to live with them, why not? If he don't have nothing to do with what's going on between Twic and Abyei, why is the president expel him from Jakwach? So while he's a citizen of South Sudan, and a citizen of South Sudan, you have right to live wherever you choose to live. If he chooses to live in a Jakwach, why not he live there? Finally, if a spiritual leader, Guy Sheikh, is a spiritual leader, as people talk about, so why is he connected with the politics of the country? Because he's spiritually, he should talk about his belief. If he is spiritual leader healing people who are sick, he can do that. Why he associate himself with the politics in the country? So all of the my thought in my head. So go ahead. What do you think about this?
One, I knew him. I knew this spiritual leader during my role of mediating peace dialogues between Twic Mayaradit and Abyei, or Twic Mayaradit Dinka and Ngok Dinka. And in my mediation, there were a lot of language. So there's allies of Twic and there's allies of Ngok. And I want to establish who are these allies and what are the allies doing. Even, let me tell you, not only him as a Nuer ally, even Nubas were brought in as allies. Nubas of Kordofan. So this particular spiritual leader act as a beneficiary between the two conflicting. He become an ally, or in a formal language, what do you call mercenaries. He start providing mercenaries to the conflicting parties, being the Twic or being the Ngok. So it depends, as more he gain from you benefit, he perform those spiritual powers that when you go to attack, you will succeed. You have seen what's happening in Jongole. Remember when youth can be moved in thousands to go and attack Pibor, Greater Pibor administrative areas, places like Gumruk, and even other attacks that are happening in Jongole, where spiritual leaders move. And remember, even spiritual leaders were able to make Shuluk daughters and sons to be kidnapped in the site of Ayod. So this particular spiritual leader took advantage of communities are in conflict. He started performing some traditional spiritual powers that convince young people to go for the war. And he started providing allies. And that's why there's so much suspicion. I don't know if you read the statement made by the Minister of Information for Abyei administrative areas about the death of the Deputy Chief Administrator of Abyei. And he was saying the Twic and their allies Nuer killed. So whenever you hear that Nuer is an ally between Twic and Ngok Dinka crisis, he is at the center of that particular praise of Nuer. So he's been seen as a spoiler. And even some people are pointing fingers that he is behind the ambush lay that led to claim the life of the Deputy Chief Administrator. So, and he's not alone, by the way. He is there around that triangle, causing havoc, atrocities with his spiritual powers. One is in Ayod, causing havoc there. One is around this side of Lownware, causing havoc there. So now we have a spiritual leaders that has become people who fuel violence. And do you know why they got that chance? Because the presence of the government, as you go lower, it disappears. The government only end up in the states as far as county. But in some locations, even in county, the role of the government starts disappearing. So as much you go down to the Payam, to the Bomas, to the villages, some locations the government presence is not being felt. And they act as alternative government now. They can command. I was in Greater Pibor. Youth age sets defeats government structures. Age sets. Some will call themselves were lions. When they start coming, they start sound like lions. Even our defense system have to pull back. Because they say, these guys are well organized. If we tamper with them, they'll flush us out. So the presence of the government at lower structure is disappearing. That's why spiritual leaders are replacing it, and the spiritual leaders are replacing for their personal gains. So for me, that's the problem with the spiritual leaders, that traditionally they have been very good, either for hunting, for rain control, for something like that. They never involved in commitment of atrocities, but now they become commercial. They have commercialized their powers. So that is one of the biggest problems with the spiritual leaders that right now we have in the country. And specifically from this bell. Actually, he suffers of latest. He was not there in terms of atrocities and spiritual leaders were accused. It's when the Twic and the Ngok crisis becoming more tense, and then his name come in. And I'll tell you, one time I tempered to go to some of the spiritual leaders in Jongole. Some people asking me like, are you really okay? Because I want to see physical who they are and what are they performing. And I want to assess some of them are liars. But because people believe, because they have the skin of the tiger, they have predictions, they have something that when they know, everything play with psychology. They play with people's psychology around here and there. I will give an example. How I come to realize that they are a problem, they are not really honest. I attended 2 cattle raiding, which is morally not good as a human rights defender. But because I want to know the powers of these spiritual leaders, I attended a raiding of Murle against Lounwer. And I physically participated in the raiding. Because I want to see how the Murle organize raiding. And this is spiritual powers, how is it? So I went, I find my way with here and there. I joined the team I attended. I see how they go for the raiding, the AK-47, how they escort. And then I went to assess from Akobo angle, a lone way waging a revenge against the raided cattle. And I start from the beginning how the spiritual leaders perform. My friend, the death that I have seen, these spiritual powers doesn't work. Just they play with psychology. People will die until they say no, but you know what? When I told you to do this, have you done this? Somebody say, I don't know, we messed up. That's why you are dying. This is the play. So now this is spiritual leaders. If they are not disciplined, they will claim lives of innocent citizens. But also, they will interfere with the government responsibility to safeguard rights of people. They're committing atrocities. They don't respect human rights because they're not educated. They are benefiting for themselves. So, in principle, the idea of disciplining the spiritual leaders, not to undermine peace and stability, I welcome it. So reallocating them simply, it have a different interpretations. As you said, either there's a speciousness, they might be performing spiritual leaders for this. This is one of them. But the other thing also, what made these particular spiritual leaders right now becoming more famous is when we start having political leaders that pay allegiance to spiritual leaders because they want to retain power. Brother, let me be honest with you. And some audience here, we have politicians here who survive on Kujur. I don't know whether it was a spirit during the military struggles. People have that, in the military, you need to have certain powers in order for you to die in front line. And then that become formally nurtured to the level now politicians believe on it. Some politicians, in the daytime, they're politicians. In the evening, you find them in certain corners that you wonder and ask them, like, what brought you this particular figure to this corner? They say, he is searching for extra power to retain his political presence. Why do you go in midnight to bush in order tomorrow to become a minister or a governor or somebody in the office of the government? and you want to bring something that is given to you in either a well-painted red piece of cloth. And some people even are believing that these things work. Remember the former mayor of Juba, Callisto, when he tempered to round up all these spiritual leaders, then they say, now, have you seen he's been kicked out? That is because of his temperament. Some people believe that these things works.
And you see that the trending in social media for the past few days, that there's somebody go to Mombasa, nail the president on the tree, so that
and even right now, it become the best statements in the town in Juba, more than the agreement, and even more than a prayer. Even the church was saying, I know, just it become a password. When here Mombasa, automatically, what social media comes up. And even people start playing games. They can see your picture, they're playing with the technology, they fix in a tree, then they play. Even your picture is nailed in Mombasa. Have you seen it? So when we have political leaders who believe on spiritual powers, this is the way how we're going to mess up with the country. That's why these spiritual leaders are becoming now more famous. I remember I was in Tombora managing the Balanda and the Zandes. Some people are telling to me some names that, those and so are fighting with these powers. Now, but my friend, why do you want to administer public affairs with the belief on people who have never gone to school, but they play with psychology of the human being? So that is a problem where this particular spiritual leader was spotted, because he is an ally to the conflicting parties, which is mainly Twic and Ngok Dinka, and he provides mercenaries that also wage attacks. And remember, those youth, the idol, if they come and attack in the name of the spiritual leader and they go back, some people will fear to retaliate. Even the army fear to retaliate. They say, oh, spiritual so-and-so leader have sent this force there. We'll never go there because others will die there without any results. So that is a problem where he is a target. And the interpretation of the role of the spiritual leader can get different interpretation from different individuals by their own objectives or their own perception that they want to send out as a messages. So for me, there's a common element that spiritual leaders are involved in fueling violence that resulted to atrocities committed. They need to be disciplined for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, before for those of you in Clubhouse, I know some of you will come up. Bear with me. I have a couple more, and then I will open the arrays, and you guys can come in and ask your questions. Okay, let me move to a different topic. Let's talk about the migration, the Nivili migration office in Nivili. I remember, I think I was there in 2021. 2021, yeah, I was there. The Nivili migration. I remember when 2021 there was no changing that the limit between Uganda and South Sudan, the visa is $50 at the time. And what I heard now, it said that the $50 has been waived. There's no more $50 waived. But as a story, I hear it when I was in Uganda last year, that there was a lady, she stayed in Uganda for almost 5, 6, 7 years, and she never go back to South Sudan. And when she started going back to South Sudan, she went to the border in Nivili, and she had passport expired. And when she and she got a travel document from Embassy of South Sudan in Uganda. And then when she went there, the Ugandese in the other side of a border, they asked her, how long you been staying in Uganda for all this year? What are you doing in Uganda? So they even arrest her. They charge her that you have to pay the visa for the last 6, 7 years that you've been staying in Uganda. Okay. So also too, the visa now has been waived. Also, they are charging, if you don't have a yellow fever, you will be charged higher. You see, if your visa is expired. My question here, let me make the story short. Yeah, let's talk about the Nimili Migration Office case, how the environment, how that looked like. And I know you were there in Nimule last week or 2 weeks ago, actually. Can you tell us what you see and how migration, Nimule in migration, it is now, and how the government of South Sudan improved the migration stay caught in the area between the government of South Sudan and Uganda, and the office of migration, how things got there. I know a few people who work there. So go ahead and explain, give us an insight. What do you think? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the positive note first. My positive note is that our brothers and sisters at their various ranks, at their various capacity under the Directorate of Migration that are working in Nimule, they are dedicated, they are nationalists in that environment. That's one thing I like to make it as a positive note. But the working environment that they are in, I would like to describe it as it is stressful, it is below standard, it is inhuman. So that is a description I can describe the environment they're working in. And because of that environment, they have also been influenced, some of them, to become corrupt because of the delay of either salaries or low salary pay structure. So let me respond to you in 3 levels. My level 1 is the setup of the migration office, the infrastructure itself. The infrastructure of migration in Nimule is below standard. If we say the migration of Nimule, it gives the image of our country. Any visitor that comes, when look at the infrastructure of the office of the migration in Nimule, will describe South Sudan is below the nations in the world. 1, the desks are very old for passengers or for people to sit in who are processing or who want to process migration services. 2, the quality of the offices is very old, dirty, not paying, not rehabilitated. 3, the computers that they have is a desktops that are no longer functional, but they're just standing there as a screen. They are so dusty. Even you don't see other parts of the computer. You just find the screen, desktop screen is there in the front of the officer, does not function, there's no power. The offices have no AC, and they're short buildings in metallic form. It's very hot, you sweat, and you start smelling some people who are there with their sweats. That's the environment that the office is in. No ACs, no fans. And then keeping the data, the record, which is actually a #1 security interest in registering people who enter the country, being nationals or not nationals, foreigners. That data is written manual in a book, in a ledger book, and even sometimes the pen is not working. They're struggling to write, to force the pen to work on the manual. And the way how those books are kept, the storage is not up to date. If any fire comes, those information will be banned and will not have track record of if there's any people who are criminals who have entered the country, we cannot have that records. So that is the working environment in Nimule migration. It's completely below standard. It's stressful. And because of no proper check, some of the officers like to kidogo, kickbacks, bribes to facilitate things. Why are they doing that? Because their working environment is problematic, stressful, and their salaries are not being paid on time and they're not being paid adequately. And that's why some officers are there. If you give them transfer, they will resign. They will not go for the transfer because they have established a system to earn their living. So completely, Nimule Migration Office is below the standard. The staff are working under stressful environment. And that's why personally, I went there, I collected my data, I collected my evidence, I watched at them. My recent one is less than 2 days ago. I was there. And this is after when I issued a statement about the migration office. So one officer, I think he got alerted. When he looked at my passport, he saw my name. He rushed to his boss. He said, Edmund is here. And I think they had me over the radio. Then the boss wake up. Edmund Yakani. He said, are you coming again to collect another information? Is that not enough? I said, my friend, I'm a nationalist. This is a public office. Then I found them counting money that I estimate may equals to 300,000 or 150 or 200,000 SSP. They're dividing among themselves. So one went and leaked to the colleagues. You people stop counting the money. Edmund is here. The whole office like is paralyzed because I'm around. But you know they did. They have to clear me quickly. They have to make sure I'm clear very quickly. I'm being praised. You are very good. You're a good person. You keep advocating. But I caught them and I went in late evening. I didn't went early. I took off from Juba at around 1 p.m. I arrived there at around 5 p.m. where they're closing the day. No more crowd. People are few. But the officer saw my passport and said, hey, it is because I was crossing to Uganda. I want to come the following morning to Juba. So that's my second experience. So for me, there's a lack of political leadership commitment to improve the status of the Office of Migration for Nimule border post. But our sons and brothers who are working there, they're working under stressful environment because they have nowhere to go. That's their post of deployment. They're doing their best to do that. But they say some of them are becoming criminal-minded also. So it's really stressful. That's one thing. The second thing is that particular border post is an instrument of assessing our commitment to East African integration. Because the integration is not government, it's not president's integration, it is citizens' integration. But citizens of Uganda, Kenya, East African citizens are so badly humiliated at the border, at the post. Some of our officers are very aggressive. So aggressive. And some, they knew this is a border post. Border post, it is a multilingual. People want to use one particular dialect to address issues of migration. Some of the stamps, if you see them, like these are stamps which are produced 5 or 6 years ago. Until today they are working, they are stamping with it. So for me, it is a challenge to the Ministry of Interior. And that's why in my statement, I call upon President to direct, because this country has reached to the level that nobody can be heard except presidents. Parliament is no longer having a power. If our MPs could have been strong, those MPs that under the committee that have responsibility with issue of rights, issue of security, defense, issue of public order, issue of public accounts, they could have visited Nimule as MPs in their recess to assess and raise this as a motion. But if you have MPs that come and even cross the border of Nimule without caring about the state of the border because they want to go to their families, they want to stay with them. When they come back, they never raise a motion in the parliament over the state of Nimule border post. So Nimule border post, my brother, it is below standard. It is an insult to the nation. It's a completely, and why I say it's an insult to the nation, it is one of the non-revenue oil that generates. If you go to our revenue authority, you find they will tell you how much Nimule is earning. Nimule is one of the center that is really hub of our non-oil revenue. But you can't improve the quality. If you see the park, a truck moving in the park like it's a dust.
Yes. Yeah.
If you see the uniform of the police, the traffic, the police officers in the park, in the parking yard, it is dusty. So it's asking, why don't you put maram if you can't really take? Why don't you maram the park? Or why don't you put a small, very low layer tarmac to reduce the dust? So those police officers who are working around the area, some of them end up having tuberculosis. And I think for them, cough is a normal thing because they're used to it. You cough for the whole week. If you cough 3 days, you treat yourself. Next week, you go for another thing. So the problem is become a and even new, you say, hey, maybe there's a bit of COVID-19 around here because everybody's coughing. But it's not COVID-19. It's just because of dust. So for me, the Minister of Interior, Honorable Angelina Ten, the IGP of Police, the Director of Migration need to go to Nimule. They need to see the situation. Now, some of them are arguing with me when I came back and I was moving in the offices. They argue with me, we have a project of building a complete new structure like the structure of Uganda. In the Elegu, if you see Elegu border post, it's well built. They say that's an African Development Bank. We have similar building like that, but it's delaying. So should the image of the country remain dirty?
They can build stuff in their mouth, but no fact. They cannot, in reality, nothing there.
Exactly. So can they rehabilitate the current one, reinvent it, keep it clean, have a good desk, have a computer that is functional, have an AC, have a fan, let the officer who sits there look clean, not sweating. You don't see a police officer of migration, the collar is full of sweat. The shoes is not being painted. So you need to put that image of the country into the staff that are working there, into the physical structure of the office that works there. Now the question is, do we lack money? No, we don't lack money. We just lack political commitment and will to improve that situation. Let the president say, I'm going to visit Nimule. Let the president, and this one thing I'm lobbying. Let the president say, I'm paying a visit to Nimule border post. In 1 month, they will fix that office.
And let them use on the road, not by air. Let them travel on the road. Because
exactly. Now let's go to the road.
Yeah. So 2021. Yeah, let's go to the road. 2021, when I wasn't there, I traveled from Uganda. The road of Uganda was Dalat is very good. It's real good. When I come to side of South Sudan, it's a different case.
You have to dodge.
Yeah, you came to jungle. There's no road. Nimri Road to Juba, all are on the road. Okay. And this road, when I traveled on that road, Nimri Road in 2012, it was very nice road. It was very good. But now it's really a mess. It's really bad road. And that's why I always say that why the leaders, South Sudanese leaders, when they travel those countries like Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, they don't see those countries how the development is. Why they don't, when they come to South Sudan, why they don't see where they stay, how the country look like. So
and let me tell you, over 50% of our MPs travel in that bad road, and none of them is raising emotion in the parliament.
Can you imagine?
I saw MPs in my travels on this road. I saw MPs in the bus and I asked them, why are you honorable if you cannot honor the quality of the road you're using? So let me tell you about the road. The road, the distance from Juba up to Aru Junction, it takes you 3 hours. We are supposed to be 30 minutes. It takes you 3 hours. Why? Potholes are too many. And there's a high likelihood, if the rainy season started, the distance from Aru Junction to Juba is not going to be passable. Because some parts, we have lost the tarmac completely. It's become muddy. And these big trucks that bring goods are not going to move. And remember, Nimule Road determine over 60% of our livelihood of the nation. Of the nation, not of anywhere.
Wow.
You have over 100 plus to 200 trucks of different materials passing daily in that road. So if that distance becomes not passable, that's it. Now, the distance from Aru to Nimule town is now also getting worse. It's getting worse. Even the round ring road on Jebel Gordon, at the edge of beginning Jebel Gordon from Nimule side is completely having big potholes. Now, if that particular distance in Jebel Gordon have potholes, how many vehicles are going to turn? And that's why you see now trucks are turning badly in that road. So the only means of mobility right now is small vehicles because they can dodge the potholes. But if rain comes, they can't move. It's not possible. The big trucks that supply foods or building materials or fuel, if the rain started, they're going to stuck. The road is not going to move passable. The question comes, we are putting priority on some roads and we don't care about Nimule roads. And this is a season we're supposed to fix it before the rain season. The rain season will come, prices in Juba will become high, and that will fuel violence. Now, when I ask them, they say, oh, we have a project of South Sudan and Uganda joint project. But why do you want to wait for a joint project of Uganda? And this road generate income that even if to use cement, you can fix it.
That's your part of it's a part of your country. How you involve the Uganda in it? Uganda, you already prepared their road on their side of the border. Can you imagine those roads in Uganda? They are all nice and clean. The old dollar. But if you come to the side of South Sudan, it's nothing there. Why they?
The travelers, the passengers that I move with at the road or them on the road, when we reach to Elegu, people start breathing that well, alhamdulillah. But then meaning that daga biga mafi sul but I begin quest. Imagine you don't admire the roads of your own country, but you're going to admire of your neighbor. Yeah. That thanks God I've crossed now. I'm in Elegu. Now I'm going to start a good road. At least I'm not going to face any potholes, any disturbance, and I'm not going to see any dust. I'm not okay. So you reach to Elegu, you start washing your face, the dust out. Does that mean South Sudanese does not have experts? We have experts. Does that mean South Sudanese are not capable? We are capable. Unfortunately, we have people who want to eat the money, but they don't translate this revenue into the best services for the common citizens. They want to migrate the money. They want to migrate the money to the neighbor. And even right now, I'm doing my own research. I come to realize some of the leaders that are working at the border post of Nimule, their families are in Uganda. In the daytime, they come, they work. In the evening, they sneak. They go and eat there. Their supper is there. So they collect our revenue and they take it back in terms of services that they get from that country. Imagine. Where is the spirit of nationalism here? So for me, everything rests on the current political leaderships and their different capacities, not only president. Revenue authority, they're collecting money. They don't feel the road. They don't feel that it's shameful for us to collect revenue here and we don't return the revenue back to the people in terms of services. The truck drivers, they don't feel like the truck drivers are feeling how much they're paying at the borders when they're coming with the trucks and the way how they're going to face it, completely don't have that human sense. And that's why I'm pushing the MPs that in the recess, we're going to petition the parliament over this issue. And that's why I was traveling good enough. I know quite a number of MPs that they're so vocal on some issues, specifically when it comes to their allowances, medical allowance, remuneration of the MPs, they're vocal. But I saw them travel on Nimule Road. I'm waiting for them to let them come to the parliament. They are so vocal on things that does not meet the interests of the common citizens, and even things that do not improve the image of the country. Even Juba International Airport. If you come to Juba on Friday with a flight of 2 p.m., where there's over 4 international flights, you see the crowdness at the point of reception, of arrival, over how they can access their luggages. The machine is only one. There's no ACs. People are too many. You have foreigners who are tourists who are coming. It's a very good case study about when was our country like this in our history? Some people say, oh, our country was like this 70 to 100 years ago, not like today. People start making it as a laughing stock. But you have landing fees of all these planes. Turkey Airline, Ethiopia Airline, KQ, Uganda Airline, Egypt Airline. You can count them. Plus UN flights. Where are the money? We are unable to purchase completely machines for easing access to luggages. And there's one side of the airport where I took quite a number of money during Lino Makana. Now they're working on it. And I'm counting now, it's almost going to half a year. They're fixing it. People like to eat and eat, care nothing. Care nothing about the nation. Care nothing about improving service to the common citizen. So that's a problem of Nimule border post. I'm questioning that the parliament have the same. I'm questioning other parts of the country the same. And that's why my appeal is that the Directorate of Migration, IGP of Police and the Minister need to go to the ground and improve that. That image is very bad. And I wish President would say, I will not to pay a courtesy visit to that office. And I wish some people here, they are listening to us, audience in your platform, they're good allies. They have ears of the president. I wish they can really alert the president that there's something going on. Because I remember when the article was published in quite a number of media, I started receiving threats. One police officer, whom I think I've interfered with his sort of like Nya project, called me and said, I saw the article. Are you Stephen Wondu? When did President change Stephen Wondu? You know, Stephen Wondu is our National General Auditor. Who audits say, were you appointed to replace Wondu? Or are you volunteering to become a Wondu? So are you trying to use this in order for President to realize that you are fit to be Wondu? Why are you auditing us? I said, but why did I do the audit? I did my social audits. I'm a citizen. I have the right to check on what they're doing. So he said, one, look here, next time you come on road, you will show you. So he won't threaten me. So when I went recently, on road, I faced that I could have gone because I found this guy who is calling me. I found in the customs. And what drew my attention, you know, the washrooms are not clean in that place. They're so bad. So I walk out an African way, going to the bushes. I find one car parked with a truck close to it. And I saw somebody with a plastic basket, with a plastic bag. They call it Cavera, full of SSP 1000 notes. So instead of me taking my 2 minutes to urinate, I pretend like I have to take, because I want to watch the game. So I found him counting the money and threatening the people. This share of money is small. And do you know what is a small share? It's almost 1,700,000.
Wow.
And he said that is a small share. Now there's a guy, I said, okay, this is how our revenue are managed. I think at the moment he didn't pick interest. I think he picked interest after when the article was published. He got information, and then he have to look for my number from different sources. He landed, and then he called me. He said, I remember that day you claim you are going for short call and you're watching at us, or moreover, you're going to take this information to media. I say, officer, I'm so and so. You have any case with me, go and open an official police case. If you feel I'm in conflict with the law, and let's confront ourselves. But this is the level of, you know, it's not political leaders who are corrupt. Even civil servants are so corrupt. And that's why sometimes I used to tell people that if you even bring Jesus Christ today as a minister to our Minister of Finance, Jesus will work out as a corrupt. Why? The director generals who are there, they are more corrupt than even the welcome minister with corrupt practices. Imagine a minister is appointed and you have these directors in the Ministry of Finance that bring to you very brand new sofa sets. They say that you're an honorable minister, you can't sit on these sofa sets. You must sit on this one here. In your house, this fridge must be there. This curtains must be in the room of your house. Now, you are a technocrat, you are a civil servant. When did you access money to welcome me with sofa sets? If you're not corrupt. So we need to really fight corruption, even to civil servants. Sometimes it's not only politicians. And that's why this practice of changing Minister of Finance, that the new Minister of Improvement, no, they are godfathers of corruption in the ministry, that you need to deal with them among the civil servants before you bring a new minister. Look at our current minister. He promised us a lot of reforms, but look at it, what's happening. He's getting a sabotage. With all his ideas, he's getting sabotage in the ministry. Technocrats are fighting him. So now, who do you blame here? It's not the ministers. So we need to fix our system very well. And we can't fix it if we don't have leaders that are proactive in providing services for the common interest of the citizen, including them if they get pension. Like your prison is very bad. Very bad conditions. And some of these ministers, some of these MPs are going to end up as the prisoners there. Let them ask Bashir. When Bashir went to Kobar, how does he find Kobar? I wish I could have improved Kobar before I could come here. Some of them are going to this Juba prison of ours. Some of them are going to face themselves there. And they will feel it. They'll say, I wish when I was a minister I could have visited the prison and improved its quality, because if I knew that I'm going to end up here. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it is a madness, Edmund. It's because if everybody is above the law in the country, yeah, the corruption will be, even the janitorial will be corrupted too, from the ministry to down. If there's no law that can punish those who do corruption and stealing the public money, and no development, and the president is chairman, commander-in-chief of the country, he should take a serious action instead of receiving a report. He should go there in person to check what's going on, and then he can take action. Because you cannot trust those people who are around you if there's nothing is been done for the last 15, 16 years in the country. There's no development and the corruption is increasing. So yeah, there's need to be a major law to be enforced against these people who corrupted, from whether you are the ministry or you are a general and you commit a crime, you have to be held accountable, brought to justice. But they get away with it. If you are a general and you made a crime, you said, hey, the talamat, come to back. And and he's the one who committed a crime. So if the country is not, they put the law in the paper, and that they are not practicing it in the country, how will the country will be? So, and they are not learning, and the president too, he will degrease person out today, and then a couple of months later, he will degrease same person back in same position or put in different, and the corruption is still continuing. It's really madness. So I hope God, even the God himself, is tired of people of South Sudan. It's really madness. Thank you. I know you guys in Clubhouse. Sorry for perpetuating Manon and attack and Choldit. Yeah, Choldit. So sorry. We have so many agenda that we need to cover because of our sake of our country. But there's one of the things that the rest I will leave for the next show, so I can give the people in Clubhouse the chance to weigh in. My last topic that we discussed last week, we see that there's a 9 million. Is it 9 million has been approved for to buy a tank, water tank. Okay, this is another issue that we need to discuss today. Is it really 9 million US dollar can be buy the tank, water tank for the country? Edmund, is it the country why they don't do the water pipeline with that $9 million?
Yes.
This is real madness. This is really part of another corruption. $9 million to buy the water tanks, but there's no running water in the country. So why the government is using the money to fix the water system in the country? Especially, I'm not talking about the whole country, actually. Juba,
yes.
Juba. But Juba, I'm not talking about all the country. Juba is why they don't use that $9 million to fix the water pipeline instead of buying the water tank? Yeah, go ahead. What do you think?
You know, when personally, when I pick up that issue, there's quite a number of threats that were posted by those beneficiaries of the 9 million.
Mm-hmm.
It was economic cluster ministers who decided that the country should use 9 million US dollars to buy 100 water tanks to supply water in Juba. When I heard it as a rumors, I was silent, but I took it when now the spokesperson of the cluster came out and released it in SSBC and confirming actually. For me, I heard like it was a dream or it is just like a gossip. I didn't know that it's going to be real. Now, when the spokesperson of the cluster came out and say this is what they have agreed and it's been passed, I ran mad. Why? Why someone like me can reject 9 million not to be used for 100 water tanks? Number one, let's start first. If you say, okay, we need to go for 100 water tanks. How much is a tank, water tank, in the market? Water tank in the market, it ranges from 20,000 to 30,000 US dollars.
Okay.
Now, if we were to go for 20,000, is it 9 million? No, it's 2 million. If we were to go to 30,000, it's 3 million. Where are the other extra money going to be used for? What will it be used for? And number two, why are you talking of water tanks when actually government have a JICA project in Juba town that as we speak per now, they're finishing up, they're final beating up, fixing of water pipes in the town. The whole roads in Juba town were destroyed. The tarmac roads were destroyed. Why? Because they are fixing water pipes. Almost every tarmac road in Juba is broken by a company which is fixing the water pipes. And they're in the final stage of finalizing it. And even they promise us that soon we're going to have water. In some locations already there's water going on. water taps. Now, do you mean that that project is dead? Is no longer viable? That's one question to bring. The third, there's a quite number of water tanks in Juba, and we know the owners are the same politicians that approve the 9 million. What is it exactly behind this 9 million? Is it really water project, or it's a use in the name of water project and they want to have access to money to their pockets? This is the second question. The third question is about procurement of the tanks, of these water tanks. How are we going to procure them? Because we have a problem with procurement system. The fourth one, how safe this project of 9 million for water tanks is going to be different from the following sagas that public funds were used for it. First, the first saga, as vehicles are concerned, Gongo bus and the means of defense. Remember, there's this Gongo bus brought by then Honorable Kolo Manyangu as means of defense. These Gongo bus are already grounded. There's a one, somebody very clever, I don't know who is that person, his Gongo bus is moving between Kampala and Arua. So the guy is enjoying that. I'm asking whether this is a general lad who say, I'm tired of being in Bilfam. Let me go with the Gongo bus to Uganda, put it as my public transport, specialized for South Sudanese, and that's my end. I don't want my pension. So there's Gongo bus being used there, and nobody's questioning it. The Gongo bus saga. How is it going to be different from the tractor saga? Remember, money was used for buying tractors. Where are these tractors? These tractors were parked either under a tree or somewhere because no spare parts. How is it going to be different from the Dora saga? From the LC saga? So are we planning another saga in the name of water tanks? So, it does not make any logic completely. You cannot convince us that this water project of fixing the water pipes in Juba town, where almost every tarmac road is being destroyed, is dead, and now we're migrating to buy. And why is it towards the elections time? Where were you all these years? You have not seen that there's no water tanks in the town? So we're now left some few months for what is called elections. You want to go? No. We feel it's a fishy business. We are not convinced. And that we are urging in this platform. I know some of the people who are here, they can communicate to president. I'm urging the president should reject. We need this 9 million for unification of forces. We need this 9 million for elections. We need this 9 million to fix schools and hospitals, that the health pool fund, the donor money, is no longer there. We need this 9 million to pay the dues of the civil servants that are not being paid for now. The water tanks we have now in Juba is enough. If they're private, they're not government, they're enough. And we need them to finish up the water project, because, you know, you're asking if they can use this 9 million to fix water pipe. Already water pipes are fixed all over Juba. They destroyed the tarmac roads all over. Everywhere they cut it. Why are they cutting it? They're fixing water pipe. And now, as this project is coming to an end, again, you're taking 9 million for. And if you see the appetite of describing the agreement around the 9 million, tells you that easy they want to access the money. People are smiling, you know, this is a project to save the children. Which citizens are you now saving them with 9 million? So it's really, it's a ridiculous decision. Let me say just a simple one. And it's a clear demonstration that the political elites in various ministries does not believe on improvement of social services to the citizens. So what is it exactly? And I think it's a project of some few people who want to eat money in the name of water tanks. And by the way, what's the guarantee that we're going to get them brand new? We'll not recycle this one in Juba here. So for me, question of procurement have made a lot of questions. Secondly, that is not a priority. That is a misplacement of public funds to a wrong priority at a wrong time. And this 9 million, is it for the whole country? As I said, it's only Juba. It's only Juba that is there. So some of them will enjoy when they see water tanks, but for me, I need to get convinced beyond doubt that the water pipes they're fixing in the town, its project have come to an end. It's a dead project. Then I can accept. But as long the way they destroy the roads in Juba, and I actually, when I heard about it, I move around. I check some of these guys. They say, no, we're in finishing phase. In the soon, we're going to release the water. Now, if you are aware that there's a project of water pipes project in Juba, which is soon coming to an end, why are you approving 9 million? So there's ill intention. That is a simple way. There's ill intention behind the approval of the 9 million for water. And if government is clear, we are going to have a debate. I've been called. I don't know whether that debate is going to be there or not. I've been called. I'm going to be in the SSBC with the Minister of Water. And we're going to crucify ourselves. We're going to scrutinize each other. I need to see the papers. I need to see the reason behind 9 million for water. What is it?
Right.
It's even somebody who've never gone to school will never get convinced that you take $9 million US to buy water tank. It is a just misplacement of money. And these are the people who, what do we call, the profiteers of the violence. People want to eat public money. And unfortunately, with due respect and honor, is under a cluster of our Vice President, Waniga, who have obtained PhD in revenue. Is under a cluster of people who are economists.
Please, yeah.
What is the economical value of that decision? What is the return? What is the gain to the citizens? What is it? And my feeling is that this is an agenda of people who are outside the government, who want to eat money, and they won't find a way of how to scoop the money from the government treasury. And they say, no, you people have been complaining about water. Water price is very expensive. And anyway, if it comes to water, is it a national government priority? What is Juba City doing? Why do we have Juba City? Then we need to disband Juba City. If Juba City leaders cannot provide water from the revenue they're collecting, it is not a cluster of a national government priority. It should be a priority of Juba City. That's why we have Juba City.
Mayor should be responsible for that.
Exactly. This is business of the mayor. This is not business of a national minister. Where are the revenue the mayors are collecting every day? Where is Juba City? This is a local government service. Even now, the business of Central Equatorial State, not the business of central government. It's a business of state local government. What's the local government doing? Then why are they there called mayor? Why are they enjoying our motorcades? Why are they running around the flag if they're unable to provide this basic service? So it's really disturbing. It's a ridiculous decision. Anyway. But the thing is that we are campaigning it to be blocked. And we have already mobilized MPs. If they come back from the recess, is one of the motions that we need to be raised. Because it is really completely a business that needs to be stopped. And I'm calling for president not to allow. And I'm calling on Minister back, the Council of Finance, not to allow it to go through. And I don't know how does it go through, and he's a member of the cluster. Actually, he's a senior minister at the cluster. These things would have been killed at the level of the cluster. Actually, should not come to the public domain that such an amount of money was approved. But anyway, when you have political leaders that almost 50% of their family are not in country, are outside country, what do they think? What do you think? They need to have access to income to pay for the services. So it's not service for us, it's service for their families. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. These are better. We hope that they will fill that deal, because $9 million is too much, and it's not. This is how to fight the corruption in the country. Those kind of like that are the thing that the MPs should be careful for the bill that they pass. So it's really, let me give
maybe just before you give it out, when we are ranked the second most corrupt country, and the politicians say no, that ranking is biased, it's because of these actions.
The action they are doing.
Yeah.
They will never accept the reality that what they are doing in the country. They will deny. And that's what's going on in this country. Because when you tell them the truth, you are their enemy. when you lie, you say, "Oh, honorable ministry," or then you are a good person. You see, because let me give this chance to Comrade Manon Attack and Mr. Chodik. Welcome, and those of you down there, you want to come up, raise your hand. Manon, you guys hear about. Thank you for being patient enough. We have several topics that we discuss, and they are very important to our country. So you can weigh in if you have a question to Edmund. You feel free to ask. Go ahead. You can open your mind now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ustaz Medit. Thank you also for South Sudan Eagle Media, and also my greeting to our guests, Ustaz Edmund, Yakani. Thank you for coming this evening or tonight. It's almost late for you over there.
Thank you.
For listening to this important discussion here and interview. Before I ask my question, I will just make a comment from the last topic, which is the issue of 9 million for the water tanks. I think it's very sad because the high level of cluster, which is led by our vice president, to approve this type of the project. Because even if we approve the water tank, is the water that being supplied by the tank really clean water or safe water? This is the question that the government authority should ask. If they want to do something, they need to do something that's sustainable, the water that's going to be clean and safe for the public to consume. But I don't think water that are supplied by water tank are safe nor clean for the consumption of the public to drink. And I believe the best way, because I saw when I went to Juba I just left Juba in July last year, there are a lot of installation going on with pipeline for waters into supply to Juba, which you mentioned earlier that is going on for 2 years without being executed. So this 9 million, why it cannot be injected? The problem of the layman of installation of water to the neighborhood around the Juba is the funding issue. This 9 million could move the process and speed up the supply of clean water, which is sustainable through the pipeline that they are working on it to install it. The second thing also is 9 million, in my opinion, or my observation in Juba, if they use it for what they call borehole, that is support with water tank and equip it with the solar system, this alone could supply no less than 1,000 households.
Exactly.
That can be green. And I believe to my assessment over there, it could cost around 45,000. So this 9 million could actually build a borehole that are equipped with water tank and equipped with the solar system, water that is clean, accessible, you can cook, you can drink with it, and it could build no less than 200 installation in Juba, which is a big supply that can help the communities in Juba and save the money life of South Sudanese. So I believe this project is questionable, and I do agree with the public opinion why people are questioning, because it's not sustainable, it's unsustainable. It's not a clean water, it's not a safe water. And the public money should not be used for those type of projects, because the government use the money for something that is sustainable and something that is safe and something that can be manageable and something that can benefit at the most the public interest, including accessibility of drinking it without any problem, and you can cook with it, you can shower with it. Those are the things that you should look into it. But even if you look to water tanks are not sustainable because they need fuel supplies, they need people to drive them, they need people to manage them. All this consumption showing that they are not sustainable at all. This money is a huge budget. It cannot be used for that, and it is very sad for the high cluster committee to approve those type of weak project like that. Coming today, we'll cover a lot of question here, and it's getting too late for you over there. My question is, you advocate for that, Ustaz Edmund, for the last interview that I observed, were advocating that the president needs to interfere to Abyei Twic conflicts, and the president need to come out with a resolution. And by that time, there were a lot of things going on, including the regional caucus with SPLM, and then the governors being called. And then now the 10-point came out very clear, directing the security agents and governors stakeholders and even traditional authority and youth as the stakeholders to execute those orders coming from the president. And my understanding, yes, the order come out from the president, but we need a collaboration from all stakeholders. Stakeholders have to be a part of collaboration. It's most needed here. And then also you mentioned about the funding for execution. You will need money to be directed to this project. So my question to you, what do you think the big challenge for the execution of this presidential order of 10 points that we see now that come out 4 days or 5 days ago? With the relevant thing that you mentioned already, even the order that was given for the people to leave the Equatorial Union with Equatorial that have never been executed. So what is the big challenge? And now already you are talking that there are a lot of violations already happening on the ground. And this is what people were waiting for. And now 10 point came out as presidential order. But what are the big challenges? Big challenge that will stop on the way of executing those presidential order. Thank you.
Thank you. Malone. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the big challenge, just to provide him bit, is that yes, last time I called for it, and when this one came out, the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, I was in direct communication with the governors, and specifically the governor of Western Baragazal State, and then the governor of Warab, and then the governor of Lakes. I've not yet reached to Chief Mayaradit-Abyei because I'm putting him for next week. But at least with Lakes governor, who by then was a lead, I will discuss. And we are now organizing a workshop or a meeting to translate the 10 points into an actionable timeline in terms of activity. So we have secured the resources for that. And in my conversation with the governor is that we need to do it in WOW. Let's go to the ground, bring all the stakeholders. Let's translate those 10 points into actionable and time-bound and resource-allocated ones. That's the next step that we're going to do. Now, when I was engaging in this exercise, one of the things that I feel is a big challenge, as your question of asked, it is really the misinterpretation of the 10 points by certain political elites that are discontented with the 10 points. And they're going to act as a spoilers, they're going to act as a blockers, that they will not allow these 10 points to continue because sometimes they feel these 10 points have not favored them. And what are the indicators that I can give you an example? For example, there's a letters coming out about rejection for sustain the name of the bridge as it is. And there's already, within the military, there's a mobilization of the youth carrying out attacks that we have seen. So there's a political elite who still feel the 10 points have not responded to them. And I think here, the solution to the big challenge, it requires President himself to take a primary responsibility in monitoring the mechanism for the implementation of this, because he's going to form a committee, per the information I got from Honorable Governor of Lake State, that committee is going to be formed to execute, and the committee have to go and disseminate. But if these committees are composed of the spoilers, that's a problem. So one of the big challenges is that these committees should really live out. And I do buy the idea that actually the committee should be composed from individuals who are non-Dinka of either Ngok or Twic. So at least we have neutral South Sudanese to deliver this. From our side, we're prepared. And I'll tell you, I've reached out to the UN family. They're also prepared to put resources into that. But of course, government to put its resources. But our challenge is the political sabotage that will come from the spoilers. That's really the big challenge. And this is the same thing what happened to the presidential order on the return of the kettles. Many people came in, NGOs came in with the resources. What we need is just, we needed political acceptance. So for me, the message goes back to sons and daughters of Abyei and Twic Mayaradit that they should really face those political elites that are spoilers. Because what happened now, as I described as a violation, is an act of the spoilers. It's not an act of everybody. So for me, I don't feel really there's a big challenge in terms of resources, in terms of translating them into securing peace and stability between the Ngok and the Twic. It's only the sabotage of these particular political elites, and some of them are well equipped. They're politicians close to the center of power. They're in security. They can use the security institution to threaten people like us who may not have that power to avoid threats that come from the security. So for me, I'm someone who I will keep on using this platform by responding to that. We are committed. We are happy with the 10 points, and we still are committed to translate 10 points into an actionable timeline with allocation of resources, and we need to move to the ground. Because this 10 points is meaningless, even to keep them at Juba level. This 10 points, we take them down as a methodology of engaging with the communities and let the communities take charge of that. And that's, for me, that's the action. But of course, there are so many sabotage that are now coming up, as I mentioned, as a violation. So for me, we need a political elite's acceptance. That is one. Secondly, some of the spoilers are our brothers in the social media, whether in country or outside country, making a different interpretation of 10 points for their own reasons. So for me also, I would like to urge South Sudanese at their various capacity, and in particular, Twic and Ngok Denka, sons and daughters in social media, don't provide your personal opinion to do misinterpretation that will again fuel violence. So for me, those are the challenges. But in terms of resource, I don't think resources is a challenge. The challenge will be political sabotage by those who feel that discontented, and already we have seen the sabotage coming up. That's my answer. I hope I've answered you, my brother.
Thank you, Edmund. Yeah. So let me move to Cholit. Cholit, are you there? Okay, Cholit, if you are not there, let me give this chance to Attack. Attack, it's your turn. Attack, we cannot hear you. Okay.
Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mayaradit, and the speaker Edmund for also coming, taking the time to talk to Mayaradit today. I have some questions. Before I get to some of them, in terms of corruption in the airport, completely agree. The moment you step into South Sudan, and the moment you leave, you see corruption. I went 2 years ago to South Sudan. I landed literally baggage, like collecting my baggage. There were kids that were there working. They seemed like they would grab a bag and take it outside, and then they would just make money. And there is no way that these kids are operating in the airport without the knowledge of the people who are running the airport. When I tried, and they've been made me to pay because I already paid for visa, entry visa, because I heard that you go to Dubai, and then from Dubai, if you don't have an entry visa to South Sudan already, then they will send you back to country. So I did someone in Juba, and then I got the paperwork, I printed off, I paid $100. At the airport, they require me to pay additional $100 for another visa. When I tried to leave, they even said that I have to have some sort of document to leave the country, and I refused. I lost at that point. I just picked up my luggage and just walked towards the where you put the luggage, and then you just go to the plane. So corruption is everywhere. When you go to the immigration office or ministry, corruption. They don't wear uniforms. I mean, it's so ridiculous what's going on in South Sudan. The cameras, you can't film. You have to get permission, or you can get in trouble. All these things, and it's been preventing tourists. Actually, when they're making videos, they get stopped, they get harassed. It takes days for them to actually get permits. It's embarrassing for a country. Why do you need a permission to record? Every phone has a camera. Why do you need a permission to record in a public place? That doesn't really make sense.
Exactly.
And so there are so many things like that. Dedication. There's a lot of cheating as well, especially in primary school, in high school. There's a lot of cheating that's going on. People where answers are put on Facebook, and the government is not doing anything to actually tackle this issue that's going on. Whether they're paying the teachers correctly or not, because now the exams get taken to Juba to be marked in Juba. So everything has been, education-wise, has been centralized, and the cheating is becoming very, very prevalent in South Sudan. And of course, these ministers, these government officials, their children are not in South Sudan. And so they're intentionally undermining the education system of South Sudan. And this will affect the future of future graduates, actually, in terms of employment opportunities. The other thing I had was, a point I wanted to make was about the oil. I don't know if most people understand the companies that are operating South Sudan, they're owned by foreigners. The operating companies, the three largest ones, they're producing 98% of the oil. They are owned, 93% is owned by foreign companies, China, Malaysia, and then some other countries. And the government of South Sudan, through NAFED, only owns 7%. How can we develop the country with 7%? And you can see why the corruption is so big, because the government is not making the money off the oil because they sold the oil companies to foreigners who are making the big profits. You know, for every $100 million, the government of South Sudan makes $7 million essentially, and the 93 million goes to the foreigners, from China, Malaysia, and et cetera, et cetera. So how can we really develop the country with 7% of the oil? And you can see this even when you're flying from Juba to Wow, you're paying 150% tax. A 2-year-old, it costs a 2-year-old a minimum of $50 to go from Juba to Wow, or from Wow to Juba. $50. That's unaffordable. And part of this is because the government charged 150%. So all these things, because they're not making the money off the oil, you know, they then tax the people to death. And you look at the countries that actually have oil, they don't have income tax. But in South Sudan, you not only have income tax, you have taxes on the road, you have taxes everywhere. So I wanted to just ask a question regarding, and so yeah, if I wanted to ask a question like, are you aware of this, that 93% is owned by foreigners, the oil producing companies, and are politicians also aware of this fact? And if so, why are they not telling the people of South Sudan? The other point as well, other question I had was, has the government of South Sudan, has it been bought by foreign interests? I mentioned the oil issue. There's the issue of Jonglei Canal, how the politician pushed it, the vice president, how they pushed that agenda to the population. Imagine if they pushed the election with that same energy. You look at the equipments coming from Egypt. You look at getting generators from Egypt, so that the government of South Sudan does not build dams, as we continue to keep getting floods upon floods. And there's been allegations that Egypt is paying Uganda to dump more water, release more water into South Sudan, so that it floods the country. And then now the food that is coming into the country is coming from Uganda. So it actually benefits Uganda and Egypt to do this project. Is this a concern? The other question I also had, I think this is my last one, was in Twic and Ngok issue. Last time you mentioned that the fact that the BA box was done in the Hague is therefore a done case. Is, you know, the ruling is correct. But the question is, because you can, no community, rebel group can take no individual can take a case to Hague, right? The international court. Only countries can. When you look at the deals that the sharing of the oil with Abyei and South Sudan getting 42%, Sudan getting 50% net revenue, Missouri getting 2%, Abyei Ngok getting 2%, the Northern Bagazal getting 2%, and Kordofan getting 2%. Of course, it's not in the best interest of Sudan, the Missouri, for Abyei to join South Sudan as a state, because they will lose the 54% they currently would get from Abyei, correct? So there's no interest for that to happen, right? So and there's no way for Abyei to join Sudan as a state or as a county, and that's in the agreement. But it seems like the government of South Sudan is afraid that if it tells the truth that the South Kir belonged to Twic Mayaradit, therefore Abyei will go to North. And that fear, even though it's unfounded, because in the agreement, the Abyei protocol is, and in South Sudan Constitution, it says that the referendum will have two questions, which is to remain as a administrative area as it is right now, or to join Bagazal. So, and you said that the Hague, yes, Hague rule therefore is a done deal. But if Bashir, because Bashir would have, lodged this case basically, if they take a case to Hague and they round up this, drew some boxes and say this is this is our area, and then the court ruling, okay, this is not yours, okay, this is yours, right? Because that's what happened. The northern part Hague got ruled out. How does that make it right? If the government of Sudan went today and said big parts of Equatoria is this, and went to Hague, and the Hague ruled that, okay, not all of it, but some of it is. Does that make it right? And if Hague ruled that is the case, then that's a done deal. There's nothing. And also, the government of South Sudan, the SPLM, they wanted to get Abyei to vote on South, and therefore they wanted to put more land in the Abyei box, so that those communities on the south of Kir can vote, which did happen. So why is that not part of the conversation? Because now it seems like the government doesn't want to tell the truth of the matter and tell Abyei individual the truth about it, because they're scared that Abyei will go to North Sudan. That's what it seemed like to me and to a lot of people. That's what Juba is concerned, and that's why they're afraid and they're just quiet, or they don't want to solve the issue in a meaningful way. So thanks so much. I've spoken so much and I've asked so many questions, and I just wanted to just put a lot of my input in terms of the corruption and all the stuff that are going on. And so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Attack. Edmund, you can go ahead and answer the question. And yeah, go ahead. Edmund, can you hear me? Okay, Edmund, can you hear me?
In terms of lack of a system that makes us hold our leaders. Yeah, so for me, in terms of the corruption, I agree with your comment, and it's a practice everywhere. With the oil, we are aware. And that's why right now there's a tension between our Minister of Oil, Potkan, in the reforms because of those calculations that you have done, and become a problematic to the minister. But good enough at least that the minister is making some people to understand the technicals. The minister are helping them to understand the oil business and the oil sector, because we're the losers. How much we say we are oil-rich country, but we are not gaining from the oil. It's external, we're gaining from the oil, but the calculation you have given. That's my answer to you. Coming to the Abyei box, one of the things I'd like to bring is that ruling is under transitional arrangement, under the Comprehensive Peace Agreement implementation. Actually, if we in South Sudan, we are united and we take a responsibility, we could have not used that to complicate situation among ourselves. Because MUNISFA, who was put there as a UN peacekeeping mission, was under transitional arrangement. So it means still options are there. The only thing that it become problematic is that when you start using that in order to fuel violence and to create a problem, because that curve of Abyei box was not in relations of Twic and Ngok Dinka relations, was on relations of South Sudan getting its independence to become a country and claiming its land from Sudan. So that drawing was drawn on that basis, on the basis of South Sudan is going to be an independent and want to claim its land territory, not a link between Twic and Ngok Dinka. It became a link between Twic and Ngok Dinka because of resources that merge within the, what do you call, economical zone within the box. So for me, we could have been genuine enough to ourselves. We close that file. We first get the status of Abyei and come. If today Sudan decided to call Abyei a South Sudan land, is that idea of the Hague ruling still relevant in the box? Because it's relevant connected to what is called Sudan crisis with South Sudan over the border. So for me, we need to do proper analogy and taking a point. Like the way he said, if we start using Hague as a complete ruling that didn't dal, we can petition our country to deal down. So that's why my humble request is that that ruling was made on the basis of South Sudan versus Sudan, not between Twic and Ngokodenka. But because that file of South Sudan versus Sudan is not sorted out, now if you want to bring the Twic and the Ngokodenka dispute over territorial control of traditional land, and the traditional land is still funded under that international arrangement of the Hague, that's where the problem is. But if we are able to close the Hague ruling for the benefits of having Abyei to South Sudan, that particular debate of the box will change. Because the box is relevant now, because Abyei protocol is unfinished business with Sudan. And that's why if you want to do interpretation of the box, even though inside in the box, it's not done in the region of Twic and Ngok, it's done more of South Sudan and Sudan. And that's why MUNISFA is in existence. That is the headline of it. And that's why I'm saying, let's not kill ourselves a box. Let's wait until we determine the destiny of Abyei. Then from there, we can come to discuss the issue of the box. But it's an annoying thing, I know, for my brothers and sisters from Twic, the interpretation of the box in terms of denying them the rights, or whether they call it rights, but at the same time also, it is a point of argument with the Ngok Denka. So for me, my sincere position is, let's put this issue pending between the Ngok and the Twic over the territorial. Let's get the status of Abyei clear before it gets out of our hand and before it goes rough. And that's why political elites from both sides should really distance themselves from politicizing the misunderstanding among our communities. That's what I'd like to say in terms of that. But as his comment on the corruption, I agree with him totally. We decided, there's another praise now in South Sudan in Arabic, say, Ganamaya gakul mala roboto fogu, that the goat eats where it's been tied. So if you have been tied on traffic, you eat from there like the goat. If you're tied in the airport, you eat from there. Forget about what is called salaries coming. So that concept, it have legitimized corrupt practices. And I think it's a shame to our country. And that's why when we are ranked, some politicians jump away. And actually their own actions make us to be ranked either the second worst or the last worst corrupt country. It's not those people who rank us. No, it's our own action that rank us to that position. So for me, this is my response to the colleagues. Unfortunately, I'm running out of power. I don't know how long we need to have.
We actually we still have like 3 people left. So let me give them like one question each, so that you run out of power. So Tim, can you put in your one question so you can take them all and then you will answer them? Okay, Tim, can you go ahead with your one question, please? I'll make it short. Please run out of power.
Thank you. Thank you, Madid. Thank you, brother. I haven't listened to part of most of the things that have been said, so I don't want to ask a question that has already been asked. So I will listen and let the rest ask the questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tim. Let me move very quick. Cholid, are you there? If Cholid is not there, Mayom, Padal. Mayom, are you there? Yeah.
I'm busy now. I'm busy actually.
Okay. Okay, Honorable Wal Attack, Padal.
Actually, I'm not going to ask a question. I'm just going to give my comment. And before Edmund leaves. What I want to say, Mr. Yakani, is that thank you very, very much for your service to your country. I have observed you since 2005 to the time I left the country, even to date. You have been very, very consistent. And this is what the country needs. Your voice is greatly serving your nation. So I just want to say thank you very much and just continue, keep the country running. And together, our contribution in one way or another, we will come together to building South Sudan. The question of corruption is actually exists due to lack of rule of law in our country. That time when officials in the government of the Republic of South Sudan abuses the power, suppose that I do it, they will say that wall is well with somebody. It's not that wall abusing the power. It's just like I'm quarreling with a fellow citizen. And this quarrel is not considered as at what basis am I quarreling with? Am I against the corruption in the country or mismanagement of public resources or against the war? It doesn't matter. It's just that it will be X and Y. It will be said like Wall and the security officer or Wall and the president, but it will not be that issue being defined as a problem, and that's the biggest problem. Second to it, the violent conflict that is actually flaring across the counties and payams and movements of South Sudan is due to the fact that people are allowed to get away with a crime, terrible crime in the country that should have been punished, but unfortunately it let go. I would hold my comment to the later on who suspended because Edmund might be running out, as he said it, of power on his phone. I would come back to this topic on the question of oil. So I stop here and thank you very much for your service to your country, Mr. Edmund.
Thank you, Comrade Wall Attack, for your input. Edmund, you can go ahead and put your last remark, so we can let you go. Yeah, Edmund, can you go ahead? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Wow. Yeah, thank you very much. I have not much with the corruption. I do agree with all those comments. My only final remark, because I'm really out of power, my final remark to South Sudan is that let's keep the dialogue among ourselves. And thanks goes to Lex Media for hosting me, for creating these platforms. Let's use, if there's other platforms, let's use. Constructive dialogue will make us fix our country. But bullets will never help us fix our country. So for me, that's my appeal, is that let's talk. Let's keep talking with each other in constructive manner. We will build this country in the manner that we want. But also, if we're talking, let's offer solutions rather than always embarking on hitting on problem, and giving no solutions. And if we know the solutions, let's contribute to making the solutions real. Thank you very much, my brother from Lex Media.
Thank you so much, Edmund. Thank you for coming to Lex Media and talk to the people of South Sudan. And thank you all for you guys are watching on Facebook and YouTube and Clubhouse. Thank you, Manon and Wall and Mayom and the rest of you attack. Thank you guys. Have a good night, Edmund. Take care. Thank you. I will see you next time when we have another topic to discuss. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
kayin ping William toyina will wala pibor kayin ping William toyin Juba Malatori kayam yo kayin ping William toyin Benti wala kwaju kaya wow kayin ping William toyin Malkal wala pinyaram kayin ping William
Organize.